people need to realize that you either own metal in something like Kinesis, or you own it in one of the high quality ETFs, or you own it in your own two hands, or you don't.
I mean, that is sage advice. What else does one need to know? I mean, we all know this is a manipulated market. We all know that as this open, it is breaking. And we've seen evidences of it. You can't have those length of backwardations where the market is broken away from a more physical. Liquidity is flowing into physical exchanges. So less and less of the open interest can go to a speculator who are wising up to the likes of GLD. In fact, just very, very quickly, I know you remember. Do you remember that day Bob Sani walked in, CNBC blacked his ears, cell phones, hand them away, blacked out vehicle, come on in. And he picks up a bar. And it didn't belong to GLD. And they were touting GLD. Do you remember Ned? Of course, we know Ned. He's a good friend. And Ned Naylor there just happened to have ETF securities coming in the next day and saying, hey, you know what? Hey, how about investing in our ETF? And he says, I'm a bit worried about that because did you see this clip? And they look at the clip and they go, holy shit, that's our bar. And that's the first time they knew somebody had gone in, taken their bar, handled it. Talk about, the worst you can say is what kind of vault management systems have they got if they are mixing other people's bars? Who the hell knows what's going on in GLD?
But
so
at the end of the day, people need to realize that you either own metal in something like Kinesis, or you own it in one of the high quality ETFs, or you own it in your own two hands, or you don't. And you don't want to be, the last guy showing up, at the garage, wanting to drive off in the car that you think you own, that the first person that showed up, is the one that got it. And I just can't, man, I hate to sound like a broken record, Andy, but I just can't emphasize this enough. And people might be sitting there listening to this going, yeah, these two dudes, these two old men, they're now so old and senile that they don't realize they've been telling the same story. We're just sitting around the home, Andy, in our matching home jerseys, telling the same story over and over. But that's because the story hasn't changed. Mm-hmm. And eventually that moment is coming. And I really do believe, again, with the train leaving the station and accelerating away, the next QE program is going to take the federal debt here in the U.S. from 30 trillion to 40 trillion or 45. The Fed balance sheet is going to go from 9 trillion to, say, 15, probably by the time of the next election in 2024. And there's going to be a rush once again for all things precious metal, including the futures contracts, and that will build on itself. And the short squeezing that started yesterday is going to get worse, and then they're going to be shifting on the long side. And then are the normal, the banks that have traditionally taken the short side, are they going to take it as aggressively this time? What are the BRIC countries going to do? What are Russia and China, and all these? Man, there are so many reasons why you should be accumulating precious metal at $17 or $18 silver and $1,700 gold, not throwing up your hands and giving up. Man, that's the last thing you should do.
And you just put, just as we finish up here, you just put into my mind that you described that beautiful story of the train leaving the station, getting faster and faster and faster. I can just see our team putting together a little video about it. I you see narrating.
Like the World War II, where like the guys hanging out the window, waving at the chick, and she's trying to run faster and faster,
and the legs going like Tom and Jerry. It's like
yeah. Well,
absolutely.
You've got a brilliant team there, so I'm sure they can come up with something, and maybe we can get that to 1 million views too.
You've been so generous with your time. I want you to tell everyone, where can they find you? I know that most people know you, but this goes out to a wide audience. So where can they find you, and what can they do to get involved with you?
Well, if you can see the sign behind me, at TF Metals Report, since 2010, it's aging me quickly, just like it's aging you too. Anyway, We've been doing it now for a dozen years. It's not free. It's whopping $15 a month. But I think the information, I put out a lot of stuff every day. I post in the morning and a podcast in the afternoon. But even more importantly, it gives you access to the whole community, because now this is, we talk about, the fourth turning, and all this other civil unrest and social unrest. You've got to have a community. You got to know your neighbors, physically. You got to, so people can band together. Well, you need an internet community. You need a wide range of people helping you see yourself through the storm. That's really what the site is. It's a community of people helping each other, kind of posting links, posting, thoughts on news of the day and stuff like that. And so really, that's the value of the site. I guess I can add some analysis every day, and I do, but it's a part of that community that helps. And Kinesis, I'm thrilled to partner with Kinesis. They're an advertiser or sponsor, or whatever you want to call it, on the site, and send people there all the time, because you and Tom, Tom Coughlin, the head of Kinesis. I mean, you guys, 4 years ago maybe we started talking about this, doing podcasts on my site. True. So I'm a big advocate of what you all do, and I'm just so thrilled to see the acceptance of Kinesis growing, really day by day. Because again, it's just another platform that helps us extract metal from the bankers' hands and put additional stress on the system. And one day, it's like the Jenga tower. One day, it'll just take one little extra little bit of stress that then collapses the whole thing. Like the guy, remember the Monty Python Meaning of Life movie guy at the very beginning, the big gigantic fat guy, and the guy comes in and says, "Just one wafer thin mint." Right, just one wafer thin mint. And he goes, and he eats it, and he boom. It was just a wafer thin mint was all it took, Andy. And that's really, and again, that's what's going to happen here too. Maybe that clip can be worked in too. I suppose I just gave your guys another idea, but that's what'll happen. And it's that little spark, like the spark that set off the short covering on Wednesday. It's that one little added bit of weight that then just, again, a house of cards, whatever you want to do, it just starts the whole thing to collapse. And that's what we're waiting for. It'll be calamitous, but it's going to be calamitous whether you own silver or not. So you might as well own some physical metal to protect yourself against when that happens.
And if it could be that person watching this that takes that last ounce of silver, and then bang, the whole thing goes nickel. As the power's with us, and I think it is, and that's the beauty of it. We can take responsibility for ourselves, and I think this is something why I'm so proud to be associated with you. That's what we're really saying to people: take responsibility for yourselves. Don't put your eggs in anyone else's basket. Just take responsibility. No one else can do this for you but yourself. You make your own decisions. Information is power. You can get it from you. You can get it from us. It is really what we're all about, is providing information to make people can make their own choices then.
That's right. It's exactly right. And then, which is the way it should be. And so we just tried to provide as much information we can so that you can decide for yourself, what it's going to be.